Well, the last time I went bargain game hunting to pawn shops, I hit up 4 different ones and found some pretty good deals. There is one more pawn shop in my area that I haven't checked out yet. So let's go check out this last pawn shop. All that on the Bargain Game Hunter. So last week we visited 4 different pawn shops in my area to see if we could find some deals on games, and we found some pretty decent ones, stuff to add to the collection and stuff to flip. Well, I found one more pawn shop. It looks like it's the biggest one in the area. That's Simple Pawn and Jewelry. I've never been in here before, so let's see if they've got any good deals on games. Let's go to Simple Pawn, see what we can find. So that pawn shop had a decent selection of games. However, most of them were like nothing impressive. It was mostly old sports games. But the nice thing about that pawn shop was they were all marked the same price. So old gen games were $3, current gen games were $5. And I looked to see if there were any current gen games I particularly wanted. There weren't. But I did pick up 2 items and I'm pretty happy with them. First of all, we have FORZA Motorsport 3 on the 360, the Ultimate Collection. Comes with both discs. I am a big fan of the FORZA series. I have most of the Xbox One versions. I haven't really played them on the 360, so I figured, for $3, why not? Not a bad deal. Case is a little damaged, but both the discs were there. They were in decent shape, so I figured, let's just go with it. And then, you know how they say, fool me once, shame on you, fool me twice, shame on me? Hopefully this isn't a shame on me. I picked up a Nintendo DS. And what's funny is this is the same DS that I had, my original DS. It's not the exact same DS, but like I had the blue DS. It's marked at 30. And I did happen to have something that I wanted to sell that wasn't game related. So if I took that off, I essentially paid $10 for the DS. So pretty solid. According to the guy it works. I'm going to test it when I get home to see how it works. But yeah, a DS for 30 could be a bit more than that. It could be worth more than that. I'm not sure if I want to keep it or if I want to try to bundle it with something and sell it online. We'll see. But yeah, so 1 game and 1 DS. Not a terrible haul. Alright, so I'm back from my pawn shop adventure, and I did actually pop into a Dollar General, which was right next door to the pawn shop, and they did have games, oddly enough. They were all garbage titles, like all of them were worth like $2, $3 each. So definitely not worth picking up. But I did want to go over the 2 games, or 2 things that I did pick up. I think I'm going to start doing this with pretty much every pickup, where I'm going to go over not only the game, the condition, but also the value. I started that, of course, on the last episode with pawn shop pickups, and I think I'm just going to keep doing it just because it is interesting to see what the value of a particular game or gaming item is. So we're going to start off with Forza Motorsport 3. This is the Ultimate Edition of the game. It is complete, although as you can see, there are definitely some nicks in the case. Also, the interior of the case is broken, so it's not in the greatest of shape in terms of the case, but everything's here, including the game add-ons are not punched out. I don't know if they still work. I'm gonna assume they don't, but as you can see, the Top Gear content for Forza Motorsport 3 has not been used. So that's a good sign. It does come with the 2 discs, which are it has a play disc and I think a DLC disc. They look dirty. You can kind of see in the reflection, but there's no scratches on them. Like they're good condition. It just, they look dirty. So I think overall it's a pretty solid pickup. I do wish the case was in better shape. But considering I get a whole bunch of stuff, apparently I get 500 total cars and an Xbox Live Top Gear token card. Pretty good amount of stuff, and I mean, it's a Forza game. Forza games are good. This version of Forza Motorsport 3 is worth about $7, so I still did well in terms of the value of this game. Now let's talk about this. Now, as of this recording, I have not tested it. I'm going to do that shortly. We have the Nintendo DS. Now, this is a DS Lite. It's the exact same color scheme of the DS Lite that I actually owned for a while. It supposedly works. I haven't physically powered it on. It does not power on right now, but I haven't charged it yet. So I'm going to go charge it. Overall, it's in pretty good condition. There is a little bit of a crack here. I didn't notice that. It's mostly just uncovers part of the hinge for the second screen. It doesn't affect anything though. It just makes it a little loose. It also came with a stylus. It is a mismatched purple stylus, but it came with a stylus. I'll take it. It did not come with the Game Boy Advance slot cover, but if this works, it's worth about 50 bucks. And essentially, I paid 10 for it because I did sell something that was worth 20 that wasn't gaming related, so that's why I didn't cover it. So essentially, I paid 10 bucks for this. So just like the other one that I picked up that doesn't work, but if this one works, I'm probably going to try to bundle it with a game because I have a couple DS games that I've been trying to sell on eBay for a while and nobody's bought them. So I figure, what if I bundle this DS with one of the DS games and try to sell it for like 50 bucks? That's a nice profit, so I'll probably do that. If I can't sell it, I'll just keep it. I mean, I had a DS. I wanted to get another one eventually, and it happened a lot sooner than I thought, so DS, pretty cool. So those were my two pawn shop pickups for today. Not too shabby. I wish there were better games, but that's the thing with a lot of these pawn shops. Aside from that one where I picked up, what was it? Oh, Days Gone last week. Like, most of them don't have particularly great selections of games. It's mostly like sports games and older games that everybody has. So you just have to be aware with pawn shops that like sometimes you're going to get lucky and sometimes you're not. I happened to get moderately lucky with my first trips, and then this time I did okay. So, I mean, I still, when you look at the value, I still did well in terms of that, because FORZA is worth 7 and the DS is worth 50. So, not too bad. So, I totally forgot that there was another value pawn a little bit farther down the road. And I was over here anyway, so I figured, you know what? Let's take a look. Worst comes to worst, I find nothing, but you know, you never know, maybe I'll find some good deals. Let's go hunt. Okay, so that pawn shop ended up being pretty good. Honestly, that might have been the best stop of the day. There were a couple items I would have pulled the trigger on, but unfortunately they were not as they seemed. They had a Wii U sitting on a shelf that was priced at $90. I was going to try to talk him down from it, but apparently it was returned because it didn't work. So I did grab that. And then they also had a PS4 case that said Call of Duty Modern Warfare on it. So I assumed it was the newer Call of Duty Modern Warfare. They wanted 10 bucks for it. Unfortunately, it looks like the game that was actually for it was Watch Dogs, which I do not want to pay $10 for. But I did pick up a total of 6 games. And I think the value that I got is pretty darn strong. First, as you saw, they had a deal going on with Xbox 360, PS3, and Wii games were 5 for $5. So essentially $1 a game. That's a great deal. And I did happen to find 5 games that I think are definitely going to be worth more than $1. And some of them I genuinely play because they look pretty interesting. So we'll start off with those. I also picked up an additional game for $5 that was on the Xbox One. We're going to start with America's Army True Soldier. This is a U.S. Army game that came out on the Xbox 360. I remember when this came out, it was very heralded as being, you know, an Army training tool. It is complete. As you see, it has the manual and everything. The disc is in pretty good shape. All these discs were in decent to good shape, which was nice. So paid $1 for that. And like I'm doing with all the other ones, I will show the value when I do the end recap later on. Next, we have Conflict Denied Ops. The Conflict games were really big on the PS2 Xbox era. So this one came out on the 360. I think it was the only one that came out on the 360. Looks like an interesting military shooter. This one is not complete. It is missing the manual. Also, the case doesn't close. But $1, I figure that's a good deal. Next, we have Blazing Angels 2. Secret Missions of World War II. This is a dogfighting game. Blazing Angels series was pretty fun. Nice air combat games, and this one, of course, based in World War II. This one, I believe, is complete. It is complete. So, another complete Xbox 360 game I paid $1 for. So I'm pretty happy with that. Now we got 2 Wii games. This one didn't have a case, or original case. It comes in a GameStop generic case, but I got THRIELVILLE Off the Rails, which is a game made by Frontier, the same team who made the later Roller Coaster Tycoon game. It was produced by LucasArts, made by Frontier on the Wii. Just the disc. The disc is in decent shape. But I mean, again, for $1, I can't really complain. And I think that'll be a nice addition. Worst comes to worst, I'll flip it. So we'll see. This one is interesting because I've never seen it before, so I don't know if it's uncommon or what. We have new carnival games. So this is a different collection of mini games from the original carnival games that came out on the Wii. Of course, carnival games, the base game is very popular and you can find it everywhere. I have not seen new carnival games, so I don't know if this is valuable or not. It is complete. Comes with the manual and the disc. The disc is in pretty solid shape. So I figure worst comes to worst, you know, I don't have that many Wii games currently, so it'd be nice to pick up a few more. And best case, if it's worth a lot, I can sell it. The last game I picked up, I had a couple I was looking at on current gen, but this was the only one that was worth the price I paid for it, I think. I don't know much about it. A game called Beast Quest on the Xbox One. I've never heard of this game. It looks like a fantasy single-player RPG sort of thing. I don't know how good it is. It could be complete garbage. But I figure for $5 for an Xbox One game, probably worth the gamble. So overall, I paid about $10 and got 6 games. I definitely think all of these are worth more than that. And now I know for sure I will be coming back to that pawn shop because they tend to get a lot more stuff than the ones further down the road. So definitely a pawn shop I'm going to keep an eye on in the future. But yeah, some solid pickups there. Now for the actual reason why I'm over here this part of town is to go to Target because they have a coupon for 10% off a game or electronics item. And I was going to check to see if they have any clearance stuff. So let's go take a look at Target and see what they got. All right, so I went to Target hoping to find some maybe clearance deals. But the other reason why I was there, besides looking for those, and I didn't find really any good ones. I found a couple games, but I didn't want any of them really. They weren't that great and they weren't that cheap either. I think the cheapest was like $12 and it was worth like 20, but I think it'd be kind of hard to sell for that much, so I decided to pass on it. But one thing I did decide to do is they have an app at Target called Circle. Well, it's part of their Target app. And every now and again, they'll give you a coupon that you can use either in store or online. And they actually had a couple that I used this week, but one in particular was a 10% off any video game or electronics purchase deal. And I figure, you know, might as well browse and see if I can find anything particularly good for that. I found Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered on the Xbox One/Series X. Now, this game normally sells for $40. It was on sale this week for $25 on the Xbox version. And with the 10% off coupon from Circle, I was able to get it for $22.50. So basically half off of a fairly new release game. I mean, it is a remaster of a 10-year-old game, but this came out in like November of 2020, so it's not that old. And I only paid $22 for it. I think that's pretty solid. I really like the first one, the original version. I still have it on the 360, but I'm excited to try the remastered version, especially seeing how it'll run on my Series X. So overall, I think it's a pretty solid pickup. Obviously not as good as the pawn shop pickups because you can't beat 6 games for $10. but I think it's a pretty solid pickup, so I'm happy with it. Now, let's get to the recap where I show off all the stuff that I picked up over the past few days. Alright, so I am now back in my apartment, and we're going to go over the values of all of the pickups that I made today. And I will say, they weren't nearly as good as I thought, but I still did well in terms of value compared to cost. So I'm pretty happy with that. Honestly, even if I have no intention of selling these, I mean, I paid $1 for them, and they're nice additions to the collection. I'll probably play some of them. So we're going to go over each game. I'm going to show what I paid, of course, and then their actual value. So we're going to start with Conflict Denied Ops on the Xbox 360. It's a first-person shooter, military shooter. This series was pretty big on the original Xbox, and then they released this one on the 360. It was I think it was one of Eidos's last games as a publisher. This one is not complete, does not come with the manual. I think I already went over that, so I'm not going to go over it again. I paid $1. This is worth about $5. All right, next we have America's Army, True Soldiers. This is a game created by the military, so it's supposed to be very authentic and realistic. I paid $1 for it. It is complete. It is worth $5. Next, we have Blazing Angels 2 on the 360. Blazing Angel series was pretty big. I'm surprised, honestly, that they haven't tried to release another one on the newer gen systems, but Blazing Angels 2, it is complete, worth $5, and I paid $1 for it. This one I was probably the most disappointed by in terms of value. Thrillville Off the Rails on the Wii. Now, I expected this to be worth a decent amount of money, and it turns out this is actually the worst one. It is worth less than the Xbox 360 and the PS2 versions. This one is worth $4. I paid $1, so it's still good value for what I paid, but only worth $4. Of the games that I picked up from the pawn shop, this was the big winner, and I had a feeling it would be. New Carnival Games, the sequel to Carnival Games. I was correct. This is somewhat uncommon. I paid $1. This is worth about $7. So not a huge profit necessarily in terms of value, but I mean, the games look pretty fun. It's got like arcade shooting and ring toss, and I mean, I'm sure it's a fun little mini game collection to play on the Wii. I'll probably hold on to it. This one, I hadn't heard of it. I figured it was worth a gamble. Turns out it wasn't really. Beast Quest on Xbox One. I paid $5 for it, and it was worth $5. So I broke even, but I mean, you know, maybe it's good. I'm not expecting much, but I'll probably try it. Maybe it'll be one of the obscure games that I play on the channel eventually. But yeah, Beast Quest, $5. Last one, and this one I didn't expect to be doing well in terms of value, but that's because this is a new game, and I paid new-ish price for it. Of course, we have Need for Speed Hot Pursuit Remastered on the Xbox One. Also compatible on the Series X. Got this on sale at Target. It was $25 on sale. Got an additional 10% off of that, so it was $22.50. It's worth about $18. Now, with new games like this, you're not going to expect to get the value. The value is definitely going to be lower than retail price. Thankfully, I do think in terms of a brand new copy of this game, I don't think I'm going to find a better price than what I paid. So $22.50 for this, I think is pretty solid. So there we go. Those were all the games that I picked up today. So it's actually a few days later than my last video. Funny story about my GameStop order. It was split into two parts. One game was supposed to arrive on Tuesday, and 4 of the 5 games were supposed to arrive yesterday. The 4 games never showed up, and I checked on FedEx's app to see where they are or when they're supposed to be here. They're just listed as pending, so I have no idea when those games are coming. So rather than waiting to release this video until they show up, I'm just gonna end it here. So those pickups, along with some other GameStop online sale pickups, are going to be in next video for this series. So that's going to do it for this episode of The Bargain Game Hunter. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you are new around here, be sure to hit that subscribe button and click that notification bell. That way you know when new videos drop. I'm going to try to release new videos in this series on Mondays on the BigCTV Plays channel. We don't have like a set schedule yet, but I'm kind of trying to mess with a few things and see what we can do. So like right now I'm doing 3 videos a week on this channel. Bargain Game Hunter on Mondays, and then 2 BigCTV Plays game series on Wednesday and Friday. So if I can keep up with that schedule, I'll try to keep doing it, but there's no promises that there's going to be videos in that schedule. That's just how they are right now. So we'll see what happens. But if I can keep it up, and if everyone continues to subscribe and watch the videos, then we'll see if I can keep making videos in that consistent order. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I will see you next time on the Bargain Game Hunter. Bye-bye.